Alright, what's up guys? I think we're live now. Happy Monday night. It is Bonnethead night and lots of fossil news and fossil catch-up night. So, hello. I think I saw a couple of people waiting in the chat already, so I'll just kind of give my... Yep, I got my streams telling me that there are people online. So what's up guys? Welcome back to our Dr. Jaws Live study party. We have a lot to catch up on. But how is everybody doing? And who is here right now? Like I could see a couple people are here, but and I guess this is gonna be a good stream tonight. Like the past couple ones are like really cool or have been really cool, but like this one in particular, there's a lot of stuff to chew through tonight. So hey, what's up, Howard? So shout out, thank you so much for your awesome artwork on Sphyrna tiburo. So this is actually like a beautiful Bonnethead drawing. I'll get into it more, but how's your weekend? I think a couple of other people are on right now too, and like hey, okay, Bethlehem, what's up? Oh my gosh, oh man, it's good to see you guys. Man, there's been so much going on. I don't know, I don't really know where to start, honestly. So I guess what we could do, I hope, I hope Roy and Anya are able to jump on, but I think what we'll do is, we have big fossil news. We have some big fossil news. I think what we'll do is, we'll kind of go over the Bonnethead just like a little bit, then dive into the fossil news. Nice! Okay. I see that Howard was spending time doing, organizing shark teeth. So was I. I'm glad. High five. We both had a fossil weekend. By the way, this is really random. Have you ever seen? It's on YouTube. It's not supposed to be on there, but it's. I don't care. Dinotopia. It was this home. What is it? It's like a ABC. It was like an ABC series from like the early 2000s. It isn't the greatest thing I've ever seen, but it was very, it's a lot of fun to have on in the background and do fossil things and I think there's like a book series, like a Dinotopia book series. So, but anyway, there's videos of Dinotopia on YouTube, and there's actually a lot of them, and like I slapped a bunch on over the weekend while going on. I recommend it if you want something that's like kind of fossil themed or dinosaur themed, but like not good. Like it's not good, but it's a lot of fun and very goofy. But I had that on in the background while I was going through some fossil stuff. So I think we'll just do a couple shout outs first, and then I'm gonna dive into some fossil updates and fossil news. So first shout out, we're trying this again. This is Roy's recommendation, not for this channel specifically, but Roy is a Sonic fan, so we are doing Sonic music. I tried this is Sonic. This channel is actually called Sonic Fan. It's a good beat to listen to, and I think it kind of fits with the Bonnethead in a weird way. Like, I don't know, it's a little eclectic. Bonnethead Shark's a very fast shark. I don't know. So we're gonna try that tonight. I tried to do that on an earlier stream, and I think I messed up the audio. Is the music coming in well? Let me know if the music's coming in okay. In terms of the volume versus my mic. So, but anyway, so we got our second piece of artwork. Also, this is from Howard Care. This is an awesome Bonnethead shark. Like when I saw this, like I was really blown away. Like, cause as I've been saying, like past couple streams, like sharks are hard to draw, and it's hard to capture that like the girth or the smoothness or the biggest thing is the proportion. Like where in the world are the fins related to other features of the body? And like Howard, this is awesome. Like this is just like. This actually is kind of perfect. I'm not gonna lie. Like that is like, I've seen Bonnethead sharks in the wild, and like that's pretty. That's really good. Like that's pretty. I mean that's it. Like that is the species. So a couple cool things to point out and to highlight. Like the proportion of the first dorsal with the rest of the features is awesome. That tail, like the caudal fin, it's just like, you just nailed it in terms of the shape with like the notch and everything. And then the speckles, that's a feature that not all bonnethead sharks have them, but like most of them do. So, and then like the head shape, you nailed it. And like again, I love this, and I think Anya's drawing had something similar where it's like there's these like little marks that show texture. Like I can feel how massive this thing is. Like massive is in like it's not like a flat drawing. It's like I can like pinch the shark's cheek. So this is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, and featured it for the loading screen for tonight. And you know what? I'm gonna keep all these drawings, and maybe like at the holidays or something, I could do like a showcase or something. Like depending on like how many we get in, just total. So Royal Roy, what's up? What's up? So we're finally listening to Sonic. So we got that loaded. I was just talking about Howard's awesome drawing on the Bonnethead, and I see that yes, you've commented on that too. It looks like amazing. So, also I love this little blue crab. So that's super cool because like I'm in the Chesapeake Bay, and this is our most. I don't know if I would say it is our most common crab. It's definitely our most famous crab, and it's also the most charismatic crab. Like this thing has such a personality. It is famously pugnacious. Like it will always try to pinch you if you go up to it. It is not a happy, friendly crab. It is every time you go up to a blue crab, it raises its pincers, and like they have so much personality. And like what's cool is blue crabs are a kind of swimming crab. So these little appendages in the back, they're actually like paddle-like features. So it like you can actually see these crabs swimming at a pretty good pace sideways through the water column with those appendages. So it's a beautiful animal. Honestly, the coloration of blue crabs is really pretty, and like it's just a hallmark of the Chesapeake Bay. So I love that you included it in this drawing. So like just awesome. Like this is awesome. Thank you again for submitting, because I just think this is super cool. So all right. So I think what time is it now? Because I wanted to make sure. I don't know if I know Anya's on the West Coast, so I think she might not be able to make it in time, because like we just got some fossil news and we just got to go into it. So here we go. All right. So favorite prey item. I didn't know that. Favorite prey items: blue crabs. Favorite prey items of bonnetheads. Awesome. I did not know that actually. So I'm gonna pull up this. I had it here. There's a really good evolutionary chart, and I've got some new. This is it. Okay, I wanted to feature this chart, so I've got some news, and I want to pair it kind of with a story time, and also just to showcase a little bit of Virginia and kind of Virginia fossils. So. So where I live and where I go fossil hunting is in. I have to kind of I have some notes here because I sometimes mix the details up, but it's a mix of formations depending on where you are. It's Miocene, Pliocene, or Pleistocene, St. Mary's, Yorktown, or Shirley formation. And where I went fossil hunting recently, it's somewhere in there, and like. It's kind of amazing how close those formations could be, and even like I think in a single site you can see different formations. And I'm an amateur fossil guy, so like there's a lot I don't know in terms of like how the sediments layer and how you can get mixing between horizons and things. There's a lot I don't know. So, but we're gonna do a little bit of fossil tour leading up to some big news. So I got up here a really cool evolutionary chart of mackerel sharks. This branch being the makos and white sharks, and then this branch being Megalodon. So whenever I go fossil hunting, I mostly see, these. These are mako sharks, Isurus. And, whenever I see this, I get really excited. Really sweet little tooth, nice size. Very fun, very, not common, but like, this is probably what you most likely will get in Virginia when you go fossil hunting. So if you're lucky, you can get a bigger tooth. This is, Carcharodon plicatillus. This is the giant white shark. This is a smaller individual, smaller tooth size, but it's a thrill whenever you find these. So I don't really have a lot. It's a pretty nice, like, to me that's like a big tooth. Like for my proportions and everything, like when I go fossil hunting, that's a really good tooth size, right? Then there's the one most recently, this is Carcharodon hastalis, the narrow white shark. And on this chart, I think this particular species is sort of the root of, if I'm not mistaken, great whites, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's kind of like the root species for, or not great whites, but like the root species for that white shark lineage. And you can tell like it has like a narrow tooth type, like mako shark's teeth are very like narrow. This tooth, even though it's much broader and it's kind of signaling the evolution of like white sharks, it's still relatively narrow. And then eventually you've got Plicatellus, which is further down the fossil line, and it's getting fatter and fatter, and eventually we'll get serrations and stuff. So now, in my estimation, this is typically a big tooth. This is what I consider a big tooth in Virginia. So, but some news. So over the weekend, I finally was able to find out how big, and this is a this is a standard size individual, sort of, but how big a Megalodon is. And this is a Megalodon. So this is a Megalodon tooth. This is one of the Megs that my buddy Graham promised to send over, and ladies and gentlemen, he did. There are bunches and bunches of Megalodons right here, like in this place. And this tooth size that I'm holding up right now is the size, the standard size everybody is getting in the mail. So I spent this weekend like getting things organized and putting together our Meg packages. So this kind of Megalodon tooth is what you guys will be receiving for your special, like, awesome YouTube gifts. I've got everybody's addresses at this point, so thank you for reaching out. These are the Megs that are coming your way. So, and it's like, I know it's not like the huge Meg, but that is a big tooth. So, and I wanted to make sure everybody has a complete specimen. So there's there are a couple that are enormous, but they're split, like they're partials. As a comparison, so this is a partial that my buddy Graham sent over of a Meg. It's split down the middle. This thing is enormous, but like, and it's amazing. This creature like swam like these oceans like millions of years ago. It's unbelievable. But I wanted to make sure when I was sending teeth over that they were full, complete teeth. Because like, oh yeah, my pleasure, man. Like you guys have been awesome, and thank you just for supporting the channel. So like, yeah, I wanted to make sure everybody's got a complete tooth. So, and they're all basically this size. They're all complete. They're all from the same location, the Cooper River in South Carolina. And apparently that's I think it's a famous location, also a famously dangerous location to get Megalodon teeth, because the river is murky and there's like alligators and cottonmouths, and it's craziness. So, but these teeth are coming your way. I'm gonna be mailing them this week. They'll be in these kinds of envelopes. I picked these out. I mean, I guess this comes standard in envelopes, but like they have like a handle of care, and like I wanted to. I was watching some Jurassic Park over the weekend too, and I really wanted to kind of like, you know, like dress it up and everything. Yeah, super dangerous fast currents. Yeah, like that too. Like it's as a diver, it's like not good conditions. But anyway, so you guys are getting your Meg packages. I'm mailing them this week, and then they should be, I think, let's say they'll arrive in 2 weeks, just to be on the safe side, because the only reason is like, I know, I don't know if this was like a Christmas thing, but I know like I had a lot of trouble like sending Christmas presents to friends this year. So let's just say 2 weeks in terms of like when these arrive. It's probably going to be sooner than that, but I just want to be on the safe side. So, but they'll be going out this week. I will let you know, and I will email you when they ship, and just keep me posted on whether or not they or when they get there, so that I can keep track as well. So Megs are coming. So, and that was actually really fast turnaround time from Graham, because like I announced that last week, and I didn't have like, he told me he was sending them, but I didn't have a hard timeline. So like that was awesome. So speaking of Graham, I'm hoping it's gonna take. I have to do some finagling on my end, but I'm curious about maybe doing interviews and like having some guests on, so I think I might have Graham on for one of these streams. And like, oh, thank you. Yeah, definitely let me know. Like when these are coming over. But I'm hoping to have like some. I have some shark friends who I kind of would love to have on the stream and like talk with them. I still haven't figured out exactly how to do that yet, but I'm hoping that this is not the last we hear of Graham. Is my point. So I also have a important question for you guys, because you guys are more like, I think you're more experienced with fossils than I am. But in the collection that you sent over, there were a couple teeth that were not Megs. They're different species. Most of them I could identify. This one in particular is throwing me off, and I really would love your expert opinion. So, let me see if I can get the light to be different. That's not helping, is it? Okay, that didn't help at all. Okay. So this guy's throwing me off. It's humongous. It has very coarse serrations, but it doesn't, as far as I can tell, it doesn't have the burlap. Like this is like a weird. Shoot, there's gotta be a better way to do this. Hold on. Where's my iPhone? Aha. Sorry about that. I wonder if there's a. It's a great white, because it's like. Because that makes sense, like, with the serrations. Oh my gosh, that's a huge great white then! Like, that is nuts, because it's like, yeah, because it doesn't have the burlap, and it totally makes sense with the serrations that it is a great white, but it's like, it's so big! That's craziness. Oh my gosh. Alright. Cool. So, I wonder, let's... check that chart. Flat tooth and serrations is giving away. Dude, that's awesome. Sorry, I'm gonna make sure it's in frame. That's super cool and crazy. That's like the Jaws shark. That's nuts. Like that is okay, I'm checking the fossil chart too. So Carcharodon calcareus, lower Pliocene. Wow. And that would, oh my god. Okay, so that's actually really cool, because if it's from the same formation, so that's like the tail end of the Megalodon age, and then that is so wild. Wow. All right. Thank you, Royal Roy. Like that is craziness. It totally makes sense. What's actually really fun too is like my little itty bitty. This is one of my. I love Plicatillus. It's like. So I love Plicatillus. This is one of my. This is in my personal collection one of my favorite fossils. One thing evolution wise is this guy has a smooth tooth. Like this is an older form of white shark, and there's no serrations on him, and I don't think Plicatillus has serrations at all. And it's cool to see like in this individual the serrations evolving, and like when you go further down the white shark line. Oh, that's a good shot. The serrations. There you go. When you go further down the white shark line, those serrations become more and more distinct. So that, good call, Roy on that, because it's like, yeah, it was throwing me off. I was like, there's no way, because it's so big. But like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I want to. It's funny because it's like you could probably get rich from that. It's in pretty good condition. I don't know. I mean, I appreciate that. I for fossil teeth, like for me, I want to keep them either as like teaching tools. Or like I kind of love, maybe this could be like a special giveaway someday, like this could be a contest prize, because it'll be I don't know, I love keeping the teeth for special events like that. I personally haven't sold one yet. I don't know if I will, but I don't know. This is a special tooth. It's staying in the Dr. Jaws house for a while, but it might be. We might see this again for a contest. I think this would be a good specimen for like some kind of cool, like epic, down the road if things get bigger. So what's the different? So what differentiates Plicatillus from the Makos? So it's weird, and I think there's a lot of debate in the fossil community, because it's like, so this this tooth. Hystalis has been called Isurus hystalis at times, which means it's a mako shark. And I've seen people like name teeth like this mako shark teeth, but I think there's debate that it's inappropriate that this is the beginning of the Carcharodon line. And to answer your question in terms of what differentiates Plicatillus from the makos, I think it's there's the debate that this is the beginning of the Carcharodon line, and then 2, it's the wideness of the tooth, and 3, like, these two species are very closely related, and there can be individuals that, like, line up pretty closely, but Plicatillus is more distinctly, like, squat. Like, the tooth shape is, like, a lot more, like, wide, and then Histalis is more narrow, but they both have smooth edges. So because it's like, I think later white sharks, like, they have the serrated edges, but if you find a tooth kind of in this area that has the smooth edges but is wide, like a wide triangle, like it would be one of the Carcharodons. So, but again, there's a lot of debate, and nothing I just said is completely set in stone, because it's like, I've seen people call these makos, and I think there are paleontologists who say these are makos, like Isurus makos, and it's just like a wide form of a mako. But then I think there's debate that these are actually white sharks. Personally, like, my gut feeling, and like also just, my gut feeling is like, I feel like these are white sharks, and I feel like that makes sense to me that these are white sharks. It's just the morphology is so different, because modern mako sharks, like, I even their upper teeth I think are a bit more narrow. So let's see, yeah, Plicatillus, I'm just catching up on comments. Plicatillus I think is just a bit wider than Isurus mako. Also, Plicatillus are usually just great white teeth but without serrations. I've seen wide Histalis, the lowers and naturally narrower. Yeah, like, that's what makes it tricky, is like, because like Histalis can look like this, but it's more often narrow like this, but it can look like this. So I forgot how I arrived at this is Plicatillus, actually, because like I have another one that, it's actually, hold on, let's check this out really quick. Also, it's really fun, like, it's fun we're talking, it's fun we're talking about the Bonnethead tonight, because it's like, it's like we're leading with the fossils and like the past, and then we're gonna go into the future where it's like the hammerheads, I think, are sort of described as like the most evolved shark, and that's not really accurate, but it's like, that's tricky terminology, which we'll get to in a little bit, but like, it is definitely the most, this is tricky terminology, but it's definitely like the newest. I would say it's the newest lineage in terms of like the distinct feature being like the hammer-shaped head is like, it's like brand new in the fossil record. So it's kind of fun. We're doing ancient sharks and then going on to a shark that's classically seen as like modern. But anyway, so this is another Plicatillus that I have. Hold on, this one's a bit bigger. In paleontology, we have lumpers and splitters. Lumpers combine similar teeth under one. Oh, I gotcha. Yeah. You know, it's funny because it's like, I wonder, I feel like with paleontology, with such an enormous, like, time span, like, I feel like lumping is probably better than splitting. But anyway, but this is a tooth I found from a similar, divided species based on minor differences. I think lumping, especially with sharks, because, like, in a single individual shark, there's such variation in tooth morphology. That it's just like, yeah, I mean, I think lumping is probably better as a practice, but again, I don't know paleontology super well. Anyway, so this is an older, or actually not older, this is pretty sure this is also a Plicatillus tooth found in a similar area in Virginia. So, and this is interesting, this one's kind of curving inward a little bit, so, but anyway. It's kind of wild though. This is the widest tooth I've ever found. It's just like, look how it pales in comparison to the Meg. That's just, look how big that shark is. That's just craziness. So, oh my gosh. All right, I'm gonna put these back in the right catalog. All right. So happy fossil. I was about to say fossil night, but I guess it's a mix of fossil night and Bonnethead night. So, what's fun is, well, fun and interesting is there's not a lot of YouTube stuff on bonnetheads, but there's a lot of great research on bonnetheads, and it's been a while since we've I think I can't remember the last deep dive. There was one shark we did a deep dive in terms of the literature, and I think it was the dogfish. I can't quite. Well, no, because there's a lot of dogfish footage. Anyway, there's a shocking lack of bonnethead footage. Oh, whoa. They found a. Oh wait. Sorry, I'm catching up. I think the first Meg you showed might be Anguistidon. Ooh, interesting. Why would what would make this let's see, Carcocles, Anguistidons. What would differentiate Anguistidons from Megalodon? What is it? The cusplets or? Because like this guy has cusplets, he has the burlette, but he's kind of like he has like a deep notch here. So I'll keep this one up, and I'm just catching up. But Bonnethead believes that turned out to be a different species based on genetics alone. Ooh. Do you know the species name for that one? Because we've got side identicals were correct. Oh wow. Okay. So, oh boy, let's make sure. Okay, so that root is a lot wider than a tooth. Uh-oh. Let's make sure. You know what? Let's switch up some fossils. Let's make sure we got the. Oh, not this one. Hold on. All right, we're not done with the Megs yet. Hold on. I want to make sure that you guys are getting Megs. So, let's see. What about this guy? Is this? Will this be Meg or Anguistidons? Because let's see how it compares to this one. I'm trying to identify his differences too. The root is a lot wider than a tooth. Open up another one actually. Because by that would this one be a Meg? Would this one be a Meg then? Because these guys, this one is a bit more like the root is in line with the tooth. Like the one on I'm starting to get confused. Left. This is your right. So let's just say this is right side one. Okay. So shoot. So this is Anguistidon. It's the same. At least the same genus, Carcocles. But yeah, shoot. I don't know. Let's see what else we got. Same. Oh wow. Are these okay? What a no. This guy? He's got a big. This one. This is so interesting. I literally like. There's so much I don't know about Megs. So this is interesting. So this one is also probably Anguistidons. Sorry. And I'm trying to see if there's anything that's like kind of different. This is definitely an Angie. Okay, gotcha. All right, let's see. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna tell Graham, like, he gave me a box of Angies, like, which is still good, but like, this is so funny. Let's see. I guess the last two where I can kind of maybe, these are a bit smaller, but, so, are these definitely Angies as well? These are the last two where I can maybe. Megs usually don't have cusps, so this is probably not a Meg then. Shoot. Okay. Oh man, sorry guys. Like I honestly, I clearly did not know. Like, Carcocles Anguistidons. So is this okay? is this partial then? Is this one Megalodon? Like this partial tooth? Oops, sorry. Here, I'll keep this one in view. Because this one is really, really chunky, very thick. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Nothing to apologize for. This has got to be Meg, right? Potential being a Meg or probably a chub. Carcocles chubutensis. Interesting. Man, how big? So, okay. I wonder... That's crazy. Okay, so I'm used to Megalodon being like the biggest of the big, and like this guy is big. The fact that this could be a different one, this one is very much, the broken one is very much a Meg. This is a Meg. Okay, yeah, like that would be, like sorry, I freaked out for a second because if like chubby how big is chubby tensis? Like how big does that get? Because it's like, if there are two, I mean, it makes sense that there could be multiple. It totally makes sense. There could be multiple sharks that are huge and everything, like megatooth sharks, but this still kind of blows my mind because this is like an enormous animal, and if this is like not a Megalodon and a completely different species, it's like, whoa. that's crazy. But it's kind of like there's like multiple T-Rexes. There's like the actual T-Rex, and then like Tarbosaurus, and I'm trying to think, it used to be really, Chub's 3 or 4 inches. Oof, it's a big guy. This is, all right, man, that's super cool. All right, so so Carcocles is coming. I might have to redact the Meg because like some teeth I've already packed. Like Megs are up to 7.3. Oh my gosh. Applying the rule. How accurate is this rule, by the way? Like 1 inch equals 10 feet is a rule I've heard. Is that accurate? Like 1 inch being 10 feet on the tooth, like 1 inch of a tooth translates to 10 feet of body size for a shark, for one of these like ancient sharks. Because if so, Meg's up to 7.38 inches. A 70-foot Meg is a frightening thing to think about. That's crazy. I had a train of thought. I totally forgot where I was going. Oh, T-Rexes. It's like multiple. It just reminds me of like there's multiple T-Rexes, like enormous dinosaurs in the T-Rex lineage. Like, not accurate. Root width is a better indication. Gotcha. Okay, interesting. What, like, if you have, if you guys, or if your future commenters have like the formula, if there is a formula, like please send it over because I'd be really fascinated by that. So, all right. So Carcocles is coming. Some kind of Carcocles is coming. It's coming. A mystery Carcocles is coming. So probably, I think based on every what we just talked about and like kind of like looking at the collection here, I think you guys are right. Probably then these are all like these all look like the same species. These smaller ones at least. Like so they're probably all. If this one is Anguistidens, they're probably all going to be Anguistidens. So, but. It's coming. So, oh my goodness. And I learned something new. So, alright, let me put this. I have like all of these. Prehistoric white shark is just as confusing as requiem sharks. Yeah, for sure. Like, oh my gosh. Like, sorry, let me put this away. For sure. Prehistoric anything, like, you know, shout out to paleontologists, because I was telling a friend over the weekend, like, this is an awesome field. I could never do it because it's like it takes so much like patience and discipline, and you have to find these subtle differences, and then but also kind of like know what you're looking. It is a fascinating field and a very difficult field. I feel like, so it's just like, oh my gosh, I can't. Yeah, shout out to that comment. Prehistoric white sharks are just as confusing as requiem sharks. Like I totally agree. So. Oh my goodness. Alright, let's leave the fossil lines and zoom into the present day. We got a lot of cool stuff. I had this article open. This is probably the most famous piece of literature on bonnetheads. We'll start out some videos on Sphyrna tiburo, the bonnethead shark. So we got one from YouTube, but let's start out with one from my own life. So, I don't. As you can imagine, sharks are very difficult to encounter. I mean, in terms of like, you need. I mean, like, if you're not like you pretty much need. This sounds dumb, but you pretty much need to be a scuba diver if you want to interact with sharks. You know, like as they are. Like naturally, not fishing for them, not like in order to be in the water with them, more often than not, you just really have to be a scuba diver, because they don't, more often than not, they don't really come into shallow water. They are not really, I don't know of a lot of places where you can snorkel. There are a few places you can snorkel with sharks, like the famous one being Scotland for basking sharks, or I think Baja California has a cool spot you can go snorkel with leopard sharks, and I'm sure there are reef systems where you can actually be, snorkeling with sharks. But at least in kind of my part of the world, snorkeling with sharks is really difficult. It's just like they prefer deep water in the daytime, and you really just have to have like a scuba license and be a scuba diver if you want to interact with them naturally in their environment. Like sands fishing and all that. So. But all that being said, I was really happy. This is a long time. This is 2015, so 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Am I doing my math right? 8-ish years ago. Where this is a really cool place in North Carolina called Baldhead Island, and this is on the Cape Fear River, and that site is very famous for shark activity, because it's like the river is pouring out into the Atlantic, and in the mouth of that area, in that kind of like tan, turbid water, is a lot of different species, including the bonnethead. And I was on Baldhead Island with family. It was like a family vacation, and I was very privileged enough to be wading in the water with this bonnethead shark. So I'm just gonna go ahead and play this. This is like shot on like, I'm sorry for the verticalness, but this was shot on iPhone, so here we go. Alright, this is a bonnethead shark, Sphyrna tiburo. He's currently turning away from me. Isn't he gorgeous? We gotta go pet it. Ah! Look at him! I was excited. Oh my god, it was so cool. So, that was like, oh cool. I think in the Maldives you can see blacktip reef pups near shallows. Awesome. So, this shark, this shark encounter, it's one of my absolute favorites. It was very brief, but like, what was cool is that this individual was very curious about, I mean, it was patrolling that, like that shallow area, but it was also very curious about us, and like, I mean, like, we're all here because we love sharks. Like I wanted to be in the water and just like spend time with it. So I was like wading around in the area, and it would sneak up on me a couple times. It made like 10 passes where it's like, there were a couple times like it would like sneak up, and I actually like had no idea it was behind me, and I was like looking around and waiting, and like there he was. So it's pretty cool. And one awesome but terrifying thing about it is like, once I kind of caught sight of it and saw that it was like sneaking up on me, it took off like a rocket. It's amazing how fast sharks are. Because it's like when they seem to be pretty quick at cruising speed, but then like if they want to move, like it is terrifying and awesome just how fast they are. So I don't think I have much more to add on this video, and I won't replay it. I'll just kind of scrub it a little bit, but and I wish I had a GoPro at the time. I didn't. I just have my iPhone, so we can't see an underwater shot of him. But I do love this like little moment where his like fin, the characteristic hammerhead fin, being like so tall, like compared to a lot of other sharks. Like hammerheads have a proportionally much higher first dorsal fin. It was really cool, just to see that slicing through the water, and then he's just kind of like chilling, just cruising the seabed. I couldn't tell like what gender was, or sorry, what sex the shark was, and I couldn't tell, it looked like a completely healthy individual. I couldn't really tell much else from this video. So, but it's one of my personal favorite shark encounters. So this is Bald Head Island, and actually Bald Head Island, if you're a nature lover, is a wonderful place to go. So I definitely highly recommend as a vacation spot. There's no cars on the island. Like, you actually have to take a ferry and you have a golf cart, and it's very, very eco-friendly and very eco-conscious. It's an awesome place, so I highly recommend it. So there's that. So other than that, on YouTube, I'm really shocked by this. There's no bonnethead footage. Like, there's no quality bonnethead footage on YouTube other than like fishing for it, and I don't really want to play fishing videos, so this is literally the only one I could find that kind of works. So this is from Allen Bay 2009. Let me go ahead and subscribe and leave a like, because it's a pretty nice little profile of this species. So check it out. And it's actually really cool. You can see like white trailing fin margins, which I've never noticed. Actually, I wonder where this is. This kind of looks like tropical Florida, or tropical Caribbean. Let's see if there's a description on where this is. It is Florida. Okay, awesome. Yeah. I don't know. It's funny, like random thing. Like, Florida and the Caribbean have a distinctive look, and I can't accurately describe really what it is, but you can kind of tell. It's kind of. There's something about it, like it's like the species, the coral. There's something about it where you kind of can tell. It looks a little. Maybe it's because it's like flatter, like it's not. I don't know. I don't know. Like Florida doesn't have those mega reef. Well, actually, I don't know. What am I saying? I'm not a tropical guy. I don't know what I'm talking about. So I don't know. I just noticed you could tell things or when things are shot in Florida and the Bahamas. I think they have a distinctive look. So, but anyway. Let's see what we can glean from this video. So we got this beautiful bonnethead shark, just kind of cruising along. Wonder if we can glean anything slowing down a little bit. Playback speed. So what's cool is that the cephalofoil, like the head, is part of the lift on this species, and all hammerheads, in terms of like when they are cruising through the water. It definitely affects their morphology, whereas hammerheads proportionally have smaller pectorals compared to other carcharinids. This is the same family as no, it's not. Kidding. Sorry, same order as ground sharks like bull sharks and leopard sharks. Not the same family. Sorry, I totally misspoke. It's Monday, so this is Sphyrna Day. So, yeah, I don't really have much else to glean from this. Just a beautiful petroleum bonnethead, super cool. So, let's see. So I'm gonna actually jump out of YouTube and focus more on the research tonight. Although, thank you. I do want to shout out to Howard again for sending over. I think he said there's a friend who had this. This is a bonnethead skull. So it's kind of cool, kind of taking a look at this. I just shout out. Thank you for sending this over, and I just wanted to take a moment to kind of like take a look at this and like see like get a closer look at the anatomy. It's really wild, and I don't really know like shark skeleton anatomy, except for there's something about how the jaws connect to the head that separates galeomorph sharks from squalomorph sharks. So let's see, there was a really good where is that book? So this newish book that came out, Shark Biology and Conservation by Abel and Grubbs, or Daniel C. Abel and Dean Grubbs, is a really good. It's not my favorite, but it is a very good breakdown on basics of sharks, and they had a really good section what separates galeomorphs and squamorphs, and it's something to do with how the jaws are connected. And I believe bonnetheads and all carcharodontiforms are galeomorphs. So let's see if we can find that. So let's see. I'm gonna open the chat too. So, males have a pointier cephalofoil. Whoa, that's crazy. I love secondary sexual characteristics for sharks. We were talking about, like, on the sand devil stream, sand devil males have thorns on their fins, females have smooth fins, so that's super cool. Males have a pointier cephalofoil. That's super, super cool. So this one, the comment is female. Small, Royal Roy, small swimming shovel, yeah. I think there's a cousin to the shark. I think it's literally called the scoophead shark. And then there's also, I thought there was another one that actually, or like one of the, what do you call it? The English synonym, or not synonyms, but the English common names is shovel nose shark or shovelhead shark. We have to check that out on, I think, Florida Museum of Natural History. They get their names down pretty well, so we should check if that's in there. So, but I'm kind of curious about squamorphs versus galeomorphs, and I just want to make sure I got that right. E, F, G. Galeomorphy. 60. Scallop bonnethead. Yes. Sphyrna. I thought it was going to be cool for a second. Hold on, I have to figure that one out. It's Sphyrna corona. Scallop bonnethead is Sphyrna corona. Okay. Good call on that species. I forgot. I made a whole video on hammerheads, and I can't believe I forgot scallop bonnet. I forgot the scallop bonnethead's scientific name. That is very sad. Shame on me. Oh my goodness. All right, galeomorphy 60. Blah 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 blah. Okay, tell me more about my galeomorphs or galeomorphs. Sphyrna has a corona. There is a way to tell them apart. 1993. Okay, galeomorphs have highly producible hyostylic jaws and a variety of rostrum shapes. Heterodontiforms, erectolobiforms, lambdiforms, and carcharodontiforms are galeomorphs. Okay, so what makes squalomorphs? Almost there. Orbostylic jaw suspension. An intermediate form that allows a moderate level of jaw mobility. Okay. So squalomorphs, which are like the dogfish, the angel sharks, the hexantiforms, like the cow sharks, the six gills. They have orbostylic jaw suspension. Okay, what does that mean? Now let's see if I could find like a graph or something. This is not organized to my liking. Hold on. Oh boy, okay. I'm getting into a rabbit hole, so sorry about this. So jaw suspension refers to how the upper jaw So let's zoom in on this. So jaw suspension reverts to how the upper jaw, palatroquadrate, and lower jaw, this one, Meckel's cartilage, connect to the skull, chondrocranium. And other supporting structures, particularly the hyomandibular cartilage, part of the hyoid arch, the second gill arch that moved forward in evolution to support the jaws to some degree. Oh boy. So orbitostylic, a projection from the upper jaw called the orbital process, articulates with the skull in the arch while still buttressing the jaw shorter. Okay, I am so sorry, guys. This is more nuanced than I thought it was going to be. Okay, and I won't be able to see it in this photograph. So, anyway. So, okay, a better summary. Oh man, sharks are amazing. There's a way to. There's so many layers you can always go into, and I won't be able to go into it. I think tonight, but like so basically what that is like bonnetheads are carcharodontiforms are part of the galeomorphs, and of the things that makes a galeomorph is how the jaw connects to the chondrocranium, and exactly what that is I don't 100% know, and I don't think I'll be able to tell in the photograph. I thought I might be able to pull that off and do that, but I don't think I can. So if anybody can, please leave a comment, because yeah, it's kind of it is beyond my skill, as Gandalf would say. So, but I guess the important takeaway is galeomorphs include the lamniforms, which are like the white sharks and mackerel sharks and sand tigers. The carcharodontiforms, which are the hammerheads, the bull sharks, the cat sharks, orectolobiforms, which are the carpet sharks, whale sharks, and then heterodontiforms was the other one, which are the bullhead sharks. So they're all part of one big group called galeomorphy. And it's like you can split sharks into galeomorphy and squalomorphy, which is really cool. And like I like classifying things, and I like having things in groups. So it is really cool to have like those two major groups of sharks. So and like I just saw your comment, Roy. Like yeah, it's I did not know this for the longest time. Like I think I learned about squalomorphs and galeomorphs literally maybe a year or two ago. So yeah. Oh cool, yeah. If you want to, please like I would love more photos of this. Like Howard, because it's like, I mean, it's super cool, and I really wish. I think the process is. So first of all, I think what they're talking about in the anatomy, some of it is muscular, so it would be hard to point out, and then like some other parts might be. I don't know. I would definitely love more photos, just in case like I might be able to kind of like illustrate it, but exactly what makes a galeomorph. But anyway, but squalomorphs are different, and it's something to do with the jaws, but it's also there's a couple other features, and they were even more detailed and intricate that I don't think I can really fully explain them. But the squalomorphs are squaliforms, which are the dogfish, the hexantiforms, which are like the frilled shark and cow sharks, the squatiniforms, which are the angel sharks, and then the pristiaphoriforms, which are the saw sharks. So it's interesting that there's these two major clades, these two major groups. So, yeah, that's all I got on that. Whoa, he has several complete specimens like this, including a large blue shark. Oh my gosh. Dude, I would love to see that. Let's see what else we could see. Even if I can't point out some of the processes that makes this a galeomorph skull, let's see what else we could see with this photo. We can see the teeth in the tooth morphology. And it's really cool. You got these little, I think you can kind of tell that's a symphysial right there, that little tooth. You got these bigger teeth in the front, but then see how they're curving inward, which is really cool as you go down the sides of the jaw for the upper teeth. And they're pretty broad. They're broad but hooked, which is kind of cool to see that morphology. And then down here, beautiful rows of these like little spiky teeth. So which is kind of classic for this shark, and also I mean a lot of like carcharodontids have this kind of like tooth morphology for the lower jaw. And I always kind of think of these as like gripping teeth, like stabbing, like fishing hooks. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I do, that almost looks like in the back, kind of like crushing. Yeah, that almost looks like flat and like plate-like in the back, which is kind of cool. And I've seen sharks, like sand tiger sharks have this too, where it's like further down in the back, the teeth become more of like a pavement, almost like a molar, which is kind of cool in the sense that, like, I don't know this for sure, but I would suspect this probably would help with crabs or cracking shells. So pretty cool. Let's see, what else have we got here? So you can tell, I forget if you call this an orbital process or not, I forget, but that's the eye socket. I think that's the nares, or like where the nostrils are. Crouching on blue crabs, yeah. Oh my gosh. This, like Ampullae lorenzina would be everywhere, but this is really cool. It's like, I wonder what these hollow spaces are, because I also feel like in living individuals, Ampullae lorenzina are kind of concentrated roughly along the same part of here, and I'm kind of curious if, I don't know if that would be, I don't know. I'm curious what makes this hollow, because this is more of like, I'm pretty sure the nose would, well, I don't know. I don't know. I'm very curious about these hollow spaces for this animal, like this individual. So I wonder if I'm gonna see if I can glean a little bit of anatomy, because this book does actually go into anatomy pretty well. So let me see if I can glean that really quick. Cephalofoil. Okay, there we go. Cephalofoil 133. Doesn't tell me what it is. 135, 137. Oop. 180. Oh, functions of 151. There we go. Alright, here we go. Alright, here we go. Gonna zoom out. I think this is gonna be some good stuff. So, here we go. No section on head shape in sharks is complete without considering a group whose head is among the oddest in larger vertebrates, the hammerheads, family Sphyrnidae. We already mentioned one function, hosting and spreading out an array of senses. Consider one specific sense, vision. In a 2009 study, binocular vision, which results in better depth perception as the brain processes and integrates a slightly different view from each eye, was greater on 2 of 3 hammerheads, scalped Sphyrna and winghead Sphyroblochii, than that in 2 carcharodonid sharks. However, the wide separation of the eyes among Sphyrnids creates a large anterior blind area close to the head in most species. To compensate, hammerheads swing their heads from side to side as they swim. That is really cool, actually. So this is a blind spot, and that's why that characteristic, a lot of sharks do that, but like hammerheads I think more noticeably do that. That is super cool. So that's why they swing their head side to side, so they can increase their vision or their ability to perceive. That is super cool. So blind spot here. Fascinating. The cephalofoil may also increase hydrodynamic lift in Sphinid sharks, although this conclusion is based on morphology and very surprisingly has not been verified experimentally. That is a surprise. Especially since, like, there's a lot of great studies, like, studying the nuances of, like, how sharks swim, specifically the kinds of, like, wakes they create, like how their fins cut the water, the unique ways the fins cut the water. It's super cool. So I'm actually, yeah, that is surprising that there's not a hammerhead study like on the actual head and how it relates to lift and hydrodynamics. That's cool. The outline of the hammerhead cephalofoil resembles the wing of an airplane in that it has camber, a symmetry between the top and bottom surfaces, creating lift. And its placement brings to mind a canard wing or forewing, a planing surface interior to the pectoral wings, or a set of smaller wings on an airplane in front of the main wings. Consistent with this interpretation is the relatively small size of the pectoral fins, key planing surfaces in sharks. In Sphyrnids. Moreover, the larger the cephalofoil, the smaller the pectoral fins, such that the combined surface area of the cephalofoil and pectoral fins remains constant. Whoa! No way! Let me read that again. Moreover, the larger the cephalofoil, the smaller the pectoral fins, such that the combined surface area of the cephalofoil and the pectoral fins remains constant. That is crazy. The cephalofoil may also increase lift in other ways, as described in a 2017 review paper. The hammerhead cephalofoil may also play roles in both maneuverability and stability. A 2003 study demonstrated that the cephalofoil of scalped hammerheads increased maneuverability and provided hydrodynamic stability compared to the head of sandbar sharks. In this study, the hammerheads made sharp turns, those greater than 90 degrees, more frequently than the sandbar sharks. Also, their turns were at speeds twice that of a sandbar shark. This is super cool. The final function of the cephalofoil, prey handling, is based on 2 published anecdotal observations of this phenomenon in great hammerheads, in which individuals use their heads to pin a southern stingray and spotted eagle ray to the bottom before eating them. Okay, that's extremely cool. Because it's like, I know hammerheads do love rays in particular, so that's super cool. Alright. Okay, so this big thing helps it turn faster, has a blind spot which causes, or like kind of creates a blind spot which causes the shark to naturally move from side to side as it swims to get a full range of vision. Possibly aids in lift and relates to the size of the pectoral fins, where the surface area of the cephalofoil relates directly to the surface area of the pectoral fins. Super cool. Hammerheads are awesome. Like, very, very excited. Alright, I think I saw a comment on parthenogenesis, so let's dive into that. This is the study. Virgin Birth in a Hammerhead Shark by Damien D. Chapman, Mohammed S. Shivji, Ed Lewis, Julie Summer, Hugh Fletcher, and Paolo A. Prodol. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that correctly with Prodol. I'm just going to say Prodol. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. But anyway. And is this published Biology Letters? We'll see. But anyway, so this is the study. And like parthenogenesis in hammerhead, the bonnethead shark is very, very famous. It is like I think that's probably the thing this shark is most famous for. The seagrass study also, I saw comments on that as well. The seagrass study is also really, really a big deal for this species. That broke a lot of ground a couple years ago when that came out. Like, that really caught a lot of it. I shouldn't say it broke ground, but it kind of caught a lot of attention. So bonnethead sharks are known for that seagrass study and for this parthenogenesis study, which is really cool in the sense that it kind of it makes sense that we're finding these things out about this species because in the East Coast of the United States, it's a very, I think in the U.S. it's still pretty common. It is still really common, actually. It's a very common shallow water species that's very small, easy to catch, easy to maintain in aquaria, and it's no surprise that it's like we've really run into a lot of interesting observations with this particular individual in terms of like it's a really good model species or study species as far as sharks go. So, and it kind of makes me think of like dogfish, like pike dogfish. It's like, it's cool that it's like a completely different lineage, completely different group, but like it's accessible and has been like very available for study in a lot of different ways. So, but let's get into Virgin Birth of a Hammerhead Shark. And like, it still blows my mind. I've totally quoted this to people, and I've quoted this on YouTube videos, and like I've checked and rechecked and verified that this is real. but it still blows my mind as a thing, and like to the point where it's like, as time goes on, like I get nervous when I talk about it, because it's like, wait, this is real, right? Like this is because it's so phenomenal. So, but here we go. Parthenogenesis has been documented in all major jawed vertebrate lineages except mammals and cartilaginous fishes, class Chondrichthyes, sharks, batoids, and chimeras. Reports of captive female sharks giving birth despite being held in the extended absence of males have generally been ascribed to prior matings coupled with long-term sperm storage by the females. Here we provide the first genetic evidence for Chondrichthian parthenogenesis involving a hammerhead shark, Sphyrna tiburo. This finding also broadens the known occurrence of a specific type of asexual development, automictic parthenogenesis among vertebrates, extending recently raised concerns about the potential negative effect of this type of facultative parthenogenesis on the genetic diversity of threatened vertebrate species. So that's, oh my gosh, that's a lot. This is super, super exciting. So, let's see. So, before we super dive into it, is it possibly reasons for this? Oh, interesting. Is that possibly the reason for the genetic differences between the Belize and North American populations? That's a good question. Because do those populations mingle? Or let's see if they do. I was about to say, before we get into it, and we're on IUCN Red List, or our friend IUCN Red List for bonnethead sharks, or all sharks really. Parthenogenesis, I think, is like an emergency. Like as far as like nature goes, it's like like this is a terrible phrasing, but it's like an emergency strategy in terms of like ideally, if you're an animal, you do not want to do parthenogenesis because it is like. You want fresh genes. You want to mate and have like you want fresh genes. You want to create a new individual with two sets of genes combining into a new individual, as opposed to having the same genes. It's in a lot of ways, if you do parthenogenesis, or if you are, I forget specifically how it works, but it's like if it's parthenogenesis, or like you are. I'm trying to think of a polite way to say this. Like if an animal like inbreeds or something, it's like it's not good as a survival strategy. It's something to do with the variety of genes, or like it's like you can run into problems, or there could be like deleterious effects. It's not good. Like what you want is mixing. What you want is new genes in a population. You do not want to clone or have parthenogenesis, or it's kind of the gist of it, as far as I've understood it. So it'll be interesting to go into that little section of potential negative effects of this type of facultative parthenogenesis, because that tracks with like what I've always learned, is that like you want variety and diversity. You really don't want the same thing. So, but let's check out population studies. So Howard brought up Atlantic and Belize bonnetheads are... Oh, sorry, Belize is here. Yeah, Belize is here. Sorry about that. Bonnetheads in Belize and bonnetheads in, like, as part of North America are genetically distinct. So, do they not mingle? Like, do they... And I actually don't know. So let's see. IUCN List probably would have that. And also, like, really sad fact, this is an endangered species now. When I literally a decade ago, it was listed as least concern. So we'll go into why the bonnethead is endangered. But so let's do population. Would that be okay? In the United States, highly significant genetic differences were observed among bonnethead shark from the Atlantic coast of Florida, Gulf Coast of Florida, and southwest Gulf of Mexico. Population trend data are available for broad-scale trends in relative abundance for the Northwest Atlantic Ocean. Your fishery independent... Okay. I'm just going to scan it. Okay, first in Northwest Atlantic, Bonnethead Shark is very abundant small hammerhead found in shallow estuaries and bays. It is caught as target in bycatch and gillnet fisheries and as bycatch and shrimp fisheries. In the United States, Bonnethead sharks had undergone declines prior to management measures, and since the 1990s, scientific surveys have demonstrated large increases in abundance. And I used to live in Florida, and these guys would wash up quite often, actually. I'm personally used to them being a common shark. A stock assessment for the Gulf of Mexico and U.S. South Atlantic found the stock was not overfished, but some sensitivity analysis suggests it was overfished. The weighted overall population trend for the Northwest Atlantic estimated a 40% increase over 3 generation lengths. Let's see. Outside U.S., where management may not exist, species captured in artisanal fisheries. Okay, so let's just say, so all this is saying is, like, the Northwest Atlantic bonnethead population is near threatened, but it doesn't say why it might be distinct from the other populations. So let's see. Excuse me. In the Caribbean Sea and the Southwest Atlantic portion, the population has been reduced substantially in size. Off Caribbean Colombia, the shark was commonly encountered in the 1980s, but is now very rare. In Venezuela, the species remains the most commonly caught shark, but subjected to heavy and unmanned fishing pressure, and is suspected to have declined there as a result of levels of exploitation. Overall, in the Atlantic, South America, the shark formerly common in the 1970s. Has been and still is subject to heavy and largely unmanned fishing pressure, and there have been very few researchers in Brazil. Therefore, for the Atlantic South American portion of the species population that undergone a reduction of over 80% for the past 3 generation lengths. Eastern, Central, and Southeast Pacific due to heavy fishing pressure, recent absence from large parts of Mexico, undergone a population reduction of greater than 80%. Overall, the combination of low fishing mortality throughout the USA, declines in Atlantic and Central America, combined with widespread disappearance in Southwest Atlantic and Pacific, the species is inferred to have undergone a population reduction of 50 to 79% over 3 generation lengths, due to actual and potential levels of fishing and habitat loss and degradation due to coastal development, and is hence assessed as endangered. So, but it's not telling us why these are different populations, though, biologically. So, let's see. Ecological function detail? Nope. I don't know. What is this? Largely depleted. Sorry, green status assessment information. I don't think we've ever seen this. The bonnethead shark species recovery score of 44%, largely depleted, reflects that while the species is viable in one of its 3 spatial units, it is not ecologically functional. In the other 2 spatial units, the species is threatened and therefore present, not viable. The bonnethead shark has a high conservation legacy. Without past fisheries management, the bonnethead shark would have a score of 11% due to expected extirpation in 2 spatial units and loss of viability to the 3rd. There's a high conservation dependence. If management were to stop, it is expected that within a 10-year period, the score could drop to 11%. The bonnethead shark has a medium conservation gain. Regulation is expected to have the most effect in the spatial unit that is currently viable, allowing the species to become functional. Finally, the species breeds extremely quickly, so if effective fisheries management were implemented range-wide within 100 years, the species could easily be viable in all spatial units and functional in one. for an overall score of 78%. Therefore, the recovery potential of bonnethead sharks is medium. Okay. I don't know the score stuff. I've never seen this green status assessment thing before. I've never seen this in a shark profile. But I'm extremely happy to read, finally the species breeds extremely quickly, so if effective fisheries management were implemented range-wide, within 100 years the species could easily be viable. That's exciting and very encouraging. I was very upset when the reassessed assessment came out as endangered for the species, and that was like 2 or 3 years ago when that happened, so that's very encouraging. I was honestly extremely upset. Like, actually, like, I think 2019 or 2020, they IUCN released new assessments for a lot of shark species, and a lot of them did not come back positively, which makes sense, but it was really upsetting, as you can imagine. And it was upsetting because, like, I started paying attention maybe 2010, 2011, 2012. Like early 10s is when I started to kind of really pay attention to the conservation, and it was just like shockingly, like, a lot of species like dropped, including the bonnethead. So, and sand tiger was a big one too. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Finally. The bonnethead shark is likely a species complex with 3 distinct elements: the Northwest and Western Central Atlantic, United States of America, Bahamas, and Mexico, the Caribbean Sea and Southwest Atlantic, Belize, south to Brazil, including Panama and Trinidad and Tobago. Good call, guys. Man. And the Eastern, Central, and Southeast Pacific. The species has among the highest population growth rates calculated for sharks, making it much less sensitive to fishing mortality than most other species of sharks. This is blowing my mind. It is caught as target and bycatch in coastal gillnet and longline fisheries, and as bycatch in shrimp fisheries. Despite its high productivity, drastic inferred declines have been reported throughout its range. The Northwest and Western Central Atlantic is stable due to management, and that region is assessed as near threatened. All right. America! Sorry. The Caribbean Sea and Southwest Atlantic portion of the population has been reduced substantially in size. The shark was commonly encountered in the 1980s off the Caribbean Colombia, but is now very rare. In Brazil, the species was assessed regionally as extinct off the state of Rio de Janeiro, collapsed in Sao Paulo, and vulnerable in Espírito Santo state due to overfishing. There have been very sparse records of the species in Bahia state, and fishers describe the species as being depleted, and the species in that region is assessed as critically endangered. In the Eastern, Central, and Southeast Pacific, the species was formerly abundant in the Gulf of California and the Pacific coast of Mexico. Let's see. So it's a species, it could be a species complex. That's crazy. If it's a species complex, then maybe, I'm wondering, let me catch up on the chat, by the way. I got really into this. So, yeah, like, so like, if it's a species complex, I'm wondering if those 3 populations, like, they have different life habits, or they have different, like, niches, because I know, for example, like, I forget if we talked about this on the actual stream, but like dusky smoothhounds have 2 subpopulations. There's a insular, or there's a coastal shelf subpopulation, which is kind of like on the Atlantic coast, and then when you go further south in latitude, you have the island subpopulation, which actually occupies deeper water. And like they're the same species, but they're in completely different zones. And I'm kind of curious I wonder if that is part of what makes the bonnethead species complex a species complex. I don't know. Let's look up, and we're putting a pin in the virgin birth thing for a second. Let's look up species complex. There's something, but it's not free. No, sorry, that's a fungus. Never mind. We don't want a fungus. Kidding. Okay. It's not going to tell us what we need to know. Does IUCN Red List have a species complex other than what we just read? No. What if we try to type in Jeanette? I think it's the same thing. In the United States, highly significant genetic differences were observed among bonnethead shark from the Atlantic coast of Florida, Gulf of Florida, and southwest Gulf of Mexico. No, I think we read that. Gene, genetic, generation. I don't know. Let's go back to this. Sharkreferences.com, great resource for shark literature. Genetic. Monogenetic trematodes. A trematode is I don't even know. I feel like it's a parasite. Oh, phylogenetic trends. Nope. Wait. Nope. No. Oh, what? This sounds really cool. This is not what we're looking for, but it sounds really cool. A phylogenetic supertree. What does that mean? Sorry, I had to click. A phylogenetic supertree of the hammerhead sharks by Mauro Jose Cavalcanti. A phylogenetic supertree of the hammerhead sharks, Congorniform Sphyrnidae. In this study, 5 hammerhead shark phylogenies based on morphological isozyme and mtDNA sequence data were combined to generate a complete, well-resolved composite phylogeny for the Sphyrnidae using matrix representations with parsimony. The resulting supertree contains all 8 known Sphyrnid species and represents the best estimate of the combined relationships presented in the original 5 source trees. The supertree will provide a useful framework for future phylogenetic comparative studies of Sphyrnid evolution, ecology, and biogeography. Yes, show me the supertree. That sounds awesome. Ooh, okay. Sorry, that sounds really cool. So these are the 5 topologies of phylogenetic trees used to construct a composite phylogeny. So the first one is based on morphology, saying that Sphyrna tiburo is its own thing and an outlier to the scallop bonnethead is corona. Media is a small eye hammerhead, I think. I'm so embarrassed that I don't know these because, like, dude, I spent like days on that video. I cannot believe it. Scoophead shark is media, and Tudez is the small eye hammerhead. Okay. So it's one thing based on morphology. What is B? Compagno based on morphology is saying that tiburo is an outlier to everybody. Interesting. Laverzy based on isozymes is saying it doesn't even have it. Gilbert based on morphology says that tiburo, the bonnethead, and the small eye hammerhead is Tudez are very similar, and this last tree is based on mitochondrial DNA, saying that tiburo is similar to Tudez and media and an outlier. So let's see what the super tree looks like. Is this the super tree? Composite phylogeny. So that's cool, and that makes sense. Okay, so this is really cool. I'm sorry, I really wanted to see this. So Eusphyra blotchii is the winghead shark. It looks radical. It makes sense that it's an outlier to these other species. So it's the most distantly related. Luini is a scalloped hammerhead. Zygina is a smooth hammerhead. They're almost impossible to tell apart in the wild. And then Macaron is a great hammerhead, humongous and distinctive. It makes sense that they're all in a group. And then finally, we've got these smaller hammerheads, our bonnethead, which is tiburo. Tudez is a small eye hammerhead. Corona is a scallop bonnethead. And media is the scoophead shark. So it makes sense. I guess I wasn't as excited as I thought it was going to be. But like it makes sense. This all makes sense. And it's saying that the bonnethead is kind of its own branch. And then the others are more closely related to each other than they are to the bonnethead. Sorry, that was really exciting. So I just wanted to check that out. So, let's see. individual species. Lewinny. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Let's go back to genetics to see. I don't think there's a study on. No, that's a cool one. This would be cool, but there's no way to get this, I don't think. Population genetic structure of the Bonnethead Shark from the western North Atlantic. I feel like that would have that information. And, yeah, let's see. Oh, can we get this? Can we actually get this? Oh, this might be it. The population genetic structure of 251 bonnethead sharks from estuary and nearshore ocean waters west North America was assessed using sequences of mitochondrial DNA control region. Highly significant genetic differences were observed among bonnetheads from 3 WNA regions: Atlantic coast of Florida, Gulf Coast of Florida, and southwestern Gulf of Mexico. Small but significant genetic differences were observed between bonnetheads from neighboring estuaries. These overall patterns are consistent with known latitudinal and inshore-offshore movements that occur seasonally for the species within U.S. waters, with the residency patterns and high site fidelity to feeding nursery grounds reported in estuaries along the Atlantic coast of Florida and South Carolina. Historical demography also supported that occurrence of past population expanses. Oh, cool. Occurring during Pleistocene glacial interglacial cycles that caused drastic reductions in bonnethead population size. Pleistocene's back. As a consequence of the eustatic processes that affected the Florida Peninsula. This is the first population genetic study for bonnetheads to report genetic divergence among core abundance areas in U.S. and Mexican waters of the WNA. These results, coupled with recent advances in knowledge regarding regional differences in life history parameters of the species, are critical for defining management units to guide future management strategies for bonnetheads within U.S. waters and across international boundaries in Mexico. That's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to scan through the rest. If I'm reading this correctly, this is basically saying that the species has high site fidelity with its nursery areas and its estuaries, and species of 2 different nursery areas or 2 different individuals of 2 different nursery areas or 2 different estuaries don't really mix. They don't really interact with each other. And so there's not as much opportunity for genetic mixing, meaning that you're going to get these variable, or these not highly variable, but these variable subpopulations of bonnethead is kind of what I'm gleaning from that. And that's really interesting. I'm going to scan through the rest, but checking comments really quick. I think biologists should keep an eye on the bonnetheads just to see what new species it could branch off to. I do. They are some of the most recently evolved species. It is interesting. I think we brought this up on one stream or an older stream, but you could still. There's so many species hiding in plain sight, and it's like there's so much. There's still much. I think there's still so much to be discovered as far as genetic differences just like this, hammerheads in particular. I think I talked about the Carolina hammerhead was Sphyrna gilberti was very recently described from Sphyrna lewinni, the scalloped hammerhead, and they look exactly the same, and it's just like a vertebral count thing and a genetic thing. But there's so many species hiding in plain sight, and so many species that look the same but are genetically different, and I don't know, it's it would be cool to see, how shark evolution progresses, but I guess my point is, I still don't think we have a complete picture of, what we actually have now, as far as, how many shark species there are. Currently, we've counted 514, I think, or 500, no, we're in the 530s now. I think it's 530 plus, but I would not be surprised if, I'm trying to. I used to be kind of funny and say there's maybe 1,000, but I would not be surprised if there's at least 100 more sharks, bringing the total around 650. But I don't know. I think which tells you it is impossible to adequately determine species from the fossil record. Yeah, yeah. It's amazing. Like, there's so much. Like, there's so much we just like don't know. In terms of like. I think the fact that we're just recently in the 10s and the 20s kind of finding these species differences of shallow water sharks that, you know, we interact with quite often. Like hammerhead sharks are like coastal sharks that we get to see quite often and study quite often. And the fact that we're just now finding out like, oh my gosh, some of these species or some of these things we thought were one species are actually different species. Like, it just makes me think of like deep water sharks, right? Like in terms of like we're just discovering a lot of deep water shark species, and it's like, how many of those are species complexes, and like how many of those, like, you know, could be completely different things. So it's, I don't know, I'm kind of going on a tangent, but like it boggles my mind. And like I never heard of the bonnethead having distinct populations, and to the point where it too could be a species complex. Like the bull shark is the first shark I've ever heard of that term species complex for, and like, I mean, it's blowing my mind that bonnetheads possibly are a species complex too. So it's just like, I don't know. I'm kind of rambling at this point, but it's just like, it's wild. It's mind-boggling. It's a little maddening. But like, yeah, there could be species hiding in plain sight. So anyway, let's see. I'm gonna scan through this to see if we can get more details on what might make bonnethead subpopulations genetically distinct, and like what might be kind of like not distinct, but like genetically varied in a significant degree, where they might be kind of like, they might not be mixing, they might not be interbreeding. I'm sure some ecologists are gonna get mad at me because I'm not using the right terminology, but oh well. So here we go. Recent conservation and management focus has been placed on delineation of nursery areas for early life stages of sharks, as they may contain evolutionary significant units, and since early stages can be particularly vulnerable to fisheries. I live in a nursery area with sandbar sharks. Chesapeake Bay is a very famous sandbar shark nursery, and it's also a smoothhound nursery here. Bonnetheads are commonly distributed in western Atlantic Ocean, seasonally found within estuarine, coastal, and continental shelf waters. Although the continuous distribution of individuals across the species range in Atlantic U.S. waters may suggest the existence of a single pamidic population, regional differences in life history parameters of bonnetheads have been observed, which suggests they may be multiple populations within the western North Atlantic. For example, latitudinal differences in maximum adult size, size at parturition, and size at age at maturity were found among 3 different areas of the Gulf Coast of Florida. Northwest Florida, Tampa Bay, Florida Bay. I used to live in Tampa Bay. Additionally, significant differences in age and growth parameters were detected between bonnetheads from the southeastern U.S. Atlantic coast and the Gulf of Mexico. Significant differences have also been noted in the concentration of thyroidal hormone from maternal serum and embryo yolk tissue between Florida Bay and Tampa Bay estuaries. These regional latitudinal differences may be environmentally controlled or physiologically influenced, but similar to other fish species, genetic factors may also play a role. There have been also no observations of bonnetheads mixing or moving between U.S. waters of the Gulf of Mexico and the South Atlantic Ocean, or non-Gulf waters, and preliminary genetic data for the species suggests the existence of multiple genetically distinct populations. This is so cool, guys. No idea. I had no idea. Let's see. Okay. In addition, some studies based on acoustic tagging in estuarine waters of the Gulf of Mexico, coast of Florida, have suggested that bonnethead sharks are long-term residents within a specific estuary, with low dispersal among different estuaries, and do not appear to make long coastal migrations. That is so cool! I just think it's awesome. Okay. Like, I love, there's no, I'm not used to the idea of, like, and this is not saying it's a residential shark in any way, but I kind of love the idea of, like, a shark living in a residential area. This is kind of making me think of that, because it's like I'm so used to migratory sharks. Like, all the sharks that live in my neck of the woods or my neck of the sea, like, migrate. Like, no one lives here, and I love I love the idea of site fidelity, and, like, just, I don't know, it just makes me happy. I just think it's really cool. However, evidence of repeated use and seasonal site fidelity with associated significant coastal migrations on a seasonal basis have been provided for South Carolina estuaries in the western North Atlantic, where extensive conventional tagging data also revealed significant group cohesion of bonnetheads over yearly scales. The proclivity of individuals to remain or return for extended periods to areas where they were born is one of the main criteria for philopatry. These areas are critical for protection of neonates and young juveniles through subsequent recruitment into the adult population. Okay. Bonnetheads in U.S. waters are currently managed as one population, and expanded genetic information is critical to effectively assess the number of management units for conservation of bonnetheads within its range in the western North Atlantic, and also to assess potential genetic differences or similarities among nursery grounds of both Atlantic Ocean and Gulf of Mexico waters. Okay, this is telling us how they're doing it. So what's kind of wild, by the way, is this is all the they're talking just about the, like, I guess they're kind of talking about the Gulf population. Well, actually no, because like they're talking about that first unit in the IUCN Red List assessment of the North Atlantic bonnethead population. This is not Belize, and this is not like the Colombian population. Like we're just talking about this North Atlantic population, and there's still this concern of, like, are these actually, like, not mixing? Like, are these different populations in the North Atlantic, like, not genetically really mixing that much? And so it blows my mind, and it's also kind of like, wait a minute, like, what does that say about the other two? Like, the other two major groups, like the Belize group and, like, the Colombian group. It's like, that's crazy. So here we go. I'm just breezing through this. Usually the results, and I don't know about you guys, but, like, whenever I read a scientific paper, the abstract is a good starting point. I sometimes read the introduction. I barely read the methods for the most part, just because it's a lot of, like, detail. I kind of skip through this because it's just telling us how it's done, but it's also not exactly what I want. I kind of usually when I go through papers, I'm like, I want the why, or, like, the findings, and, like, even the results, I skip through that because it's not like the results are the actual results, but the findings are in the discussion, you know. Also, what the hell is this? Wait, hold on. mtDNA CR minimum spanning tree showed the two most abundant haplotypes. Oh, sorry, I got excited because this is the stuff that kind of, like, this is relevant to species complex conversations. Sorry. Small black dots among the tree represent a missing haplotype, and that was not included in the sample. Okay. This one's Gulf of Mexico. Gray is southwestern Gulf of Mexico. White is Atlantic Gulf coast of Florida. Black is Gulf coast of Florida. Interesting. Okay. Sorry, but I was just saying, like, it's the what? I usually skip to the discussion because the discussion shares what's going on and why is this important, and it's kind of like the most valuable part for me, at least, like, in terms of, like, kind of comprehending like what's the point of all this. So, Bonnethead populations in Gulf of Mexico and U.S. Atlantic coastal waters displayed high levels of haplotype diversity similar to other coastal shark species such as the blacktip shark and sandbar shark, but also similar to some pelagic shark species such as the shortfin mako. The high gene diversity we observed is compatible with some biological parameters reported for bonnetheads such as fast growth, short generation time, 2.5 years, well, and short gestation period. The MST did not reveal a clear arrangement of haplotypes in the core study regions or spatially separated regions, denoting the existence to some extent of gene flow among regions mediated by dispersal through adult migration. Genetics is not my forte, but the two most abundant haplotypes in the MST displayed a star-like topology. Typical populations experienced demographic expansion after a bottleneck, which could have eliminated any previous phylogeographic signals. These results emphasize that although bonnetheads exhibit dispersal capability, movements probably occur between nearby or adjacent estuaries, but are limited among regions separated by a scale of thousands of kilometers. Bonnetheads are distributed widely in the western Atlantic, however their primary abundance areas are estuarine and nearshore ocean waters. The high residency and site fidelity to estuaries, determined by both acoustic and conventional tagging data, suggests that this species does not typically make significantly long coastal migrations throughout its range. In contrast, in contrast, on the U.S. Atlantic, seasonal latitudinal movements along the coast have been documented. Although tagged bonnetheads were most often recaptured within the same estuary where they were originally tagged, a number of individuals were captured during migratory periods. Late fall, winter, and spring within nearshore ocean waters of North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida, suggesting dispersal capability of bonnetheads that may help explain the lack of genetic differences among nearby or adjacent estuaries. Oh. Okay, so... Wait. Hold on. Suggesting dispersal capability of bonnetheads that may help explain the lack of genetic differences among nearby or adjacent estuaries. So it's saying nearby estuaries are the bonnethead populations in nearby estuaries are similar? So what are we doing? Wait. All tag recaptured data indicate low or no movements of bonnetheads from U.S. Atlantic waters into the Gulf of Mexico or vice versa. Oh, okay, sorry. So the ones on the Atlantic side of Florida, it looks like they can go from estuary to estuary up and down the coast, but on the Gulf side of Florida, not really. Like, they don't really do that. Interesting. Including movements in the southwest Gulf of Mexico, although there was one bonnethead recorded moving from U.S. waters to the Mexican-managed portion of the Gulf of Mexico near the Texas border. The full extent of the movements between U.S. and Mexican waters is not known, underreporting. Whereas the lack of evidence for movement among the three major regions studied supports the genetic differences were observed for bonnetheads, their seasonal latitude or offshore movements may also help explain the lack of genetic differences between locations along the Atlantic coast and Florida. I don't know. Let me check the comments really quick. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I'm getting really into this. Maybe part of this is just having this genetic diversity. Wouldn't be surprised if they found a subspecies of poor beagle and salmon sharks, those who are almost literally twins. That sounds right. Yeah, no, that'd actually be really cool. I would love like another like white shark or like mackerel shark subspecies. Oh my gosh, it's almost 11. I I got really into this because this is really fascinating to me. I do want to finish the virgin birth thing. Like, I think we put a pin in the virgin birth an hour ago. I'm so sorry, but this really caught my eye. Okay. Philopatry is a tendency of an individual to remain in or return to certain areas during life cycle. Let's talk about what philopatry is. And it's important. Okay. Other sharks have it. Oh, there's the crab. Sorry. Peaks of preferred prey, mature female blue crabs, Calnictus sabatus. Good call, Howard. That's their favorite food. The high residence in estuaries may be related to use of these estuary areas as feeding grounds or serve as a combination of both nursery and feeding functions for bonnetheads on the southeastern U.S. Atlantic coast. Latitudinal migration of bonnetheads during the late fall, winter, and spring have been hypothesized evidence of bonnetheads using South Carolina estuaries as feeding grounds concurrent with high abundance peaks of preferred prey. That's actually really cool. So they're timing their migrations with the crabs. That's really cool during spring and summer months. A behavior that may be socially transmitted to younger sharks from experienced older adults. That's interesting. In this case, limited or no genetic differences between closely related estuaries would be expected. Okay, I feel bad. I really want to get back to the virgin birth because it's almost 11 over here. So super speed Sonic. Oh, it's done. This was interesting. It kind of went in a direction I was curious about. It kind of supports that this species can exhibit a lot of genetic differences. It's just that what kind of threw a curveball was that bonnetheads migrating from Florida up the coast to like North Carolina, they probably do intermingle, and so there's not a lot of genetic variation in that part of the population. But they don't seem to go into the Atlantic bonnetheads don't seem to go into the Gulf of Mexico, so they're more genetically distinct, which is very interesting. And again, it's just this one group in the North Atlantic. They're not talking about Belize or Colombia, so it is interesting to think about, I guess, the capabilities of a species in terms of like it could have so many different genetic pools that don't really mix. So this is the first population genetic study of bonnetheads to report genetic divergence between core abundance areas. Bonnetheads in U.S. waters have been managed as one population. Our results, coupled with recent advances in knowledge regarding differences in life history parameters of the species, are important considerations for effective species management within U.S. waters and across international matters in Mexico. But it needs to be further investigated. Okay, very interesting study. I am not really giving it 100% its due, but I think we got the gist of it. And I don't think we did the shout out. So Elena Escada Luna, Douglas H. Adams, Manuel Uribe Alcocer, Valentina Islas Villanueva, Pindaro Diaz Gemez, and Author Notes, of course. Author Notes is the greatest shark scientist ever. But anyway, this is a really interesting study. Population genetic structure of the Bonnethead Shark, Sphyrna tiburo, from the western North Atlantic, based on mtDNA sequences. This is published in Journal of Heredity. This is really interesting. So that was actually really cool. Journal of Heredity. So super cool. Yeah, I mean, it's not a hard conclusion, but I think it's interesting to read this and pairing it with what we're gleaning from the IUCN Red List and pairing it with the conversation in the chat about the populations being distinct for the species. So it's very, very interesting. So It's amazing to see all these scientific disciplines come together to further our understanding. Yes, agreed. And it's actually really cool. And just in general, I mean, for any kind of like knowledge base in general, like bouncing around and cross-referencing between things is super helpful and healthy. It's just like genetic mixing. It's like it's really important. It's super helpful and healthy where it's like, if you have two completely independent sources saying something similar and they're arriving at their conclusions independently, you might be onto something that is like, you know, close to the truth, or maybe the truth, which is like, it's exciting. It's super cool to be able to do this, and like in any kind of science, I mean, it's a scientific method to just like, you know, I mean, like have different sources and have them be testable and just like, oh. It's really cool. It's really cool seeing. That's why it's fun. Like for these streams, we bounce around different areas. Like, you know, because it's like it's good to get a holistic picture. And yeah. So, all right. It is almost 11 o'clock, but we have to cover this study. I'm also pleasantly surprised how much like there's a lot of Bonnethead content. Like. There's no videos on YouTube, but like this shark is the subject of a lot of really cool studies, so it's a lot. Like, and I'm pretty wired still, but I really should end this 11-ish. So here we go. Let's see, the big one. The direct development of an embryo from an egg without male genetic contribution, i.e. parthenogenesis, has been documented in all jawed vertebrate lineages, bony fishes, amphibians, reptiles, and birds, except mammals and cartilaginous fishes, until now. The absence of parthenogenesis in placental mammals is due to genomic imprinting. I don't know what that is. We will leave a comment if you know what genomic imprinting is. We don't have time to figure that out, but it remains unknown whether it is similarly absent in chondrichthyans or has simply never been detected. And now it's detected. Although there are increasing reports of female sharks producing living offspring in captivity despite extended isolation from males, these cases have been attributed to long-term sperm storage by females with later fertilization and have never been investigated further. I forget, there is a group of, I totally forget which animals do this. Like, I forget if this is lizards that do that. Long-term sperm storage is the thing, but I forget what group of animal does that, so. Okay. In a widely publicized case that occurred on December 14, 2001, one of the 3 captive adult female bonnethead sharks gave birth to a normally developed live female pup, which was apparently later killed by another fish in the aquarium. Oh gosh, yeah. This birth is significant because the well-documented capture history of these sharks is inconsistent with sperm storage by the mother as the probable explanation. All 3 candidate mothers have been held in the absence of males for 3 years, since they were caught in the Florida Keys as immature individuals less than 1 year old. That is crazy. I didn't know that detail. They were caught as pups. That's crazy. At least 2 years away from the age of first maturity, it is improbable that they were capable of sexual activity and sperm storage prior to capture. Moreover, the duration of sperm storage by adult female S. tiburo in the wild is relatively brief, 5 months. None of the candidate mothers showed any signs of even rudimentary external male copulatory organs, claspers that are typical rare cases of intersexuality in sharks, eliminating the possibility of self-fertilization. These factors led us to consider the possibility of asexual reproduction. Vertebrate parthenogenesis is most easily detected and thus best known in unisexual obligate parthenogenic species. Wow, that's a lot. However, it has also been documented in species that normally reproduce sexually. Apomictic parthenogenic pathways can bypass or subvert meiosis to produce a zygote. That's wild. Whoa. Can bypass or subvert meiosis. That's crazy. To produce a zygote that is genetically identical to its mother, i.e. the maternal genome is transmitted to the embryo intact. In contrast, automitic parthenogenic pathways, automixis, documented in diapsids, birds, and squamate reptiles, operate by fusion of postmeiotic products in the mother, leading to elevated homozygosity in the offspring. This is. I mean, I know Jurassic Park is different, but this is like a lot like Jurassic Park. Like the dinosaurs are breathing. That's crazy. That is so crazy. Recent studies have suggested the importance of understanding how frequently and under what conditions female reptiles engage in automixis, considering concerns about the potential negative effects on genetic diversity in small populations and breeding colonies. A better understanding their approach to process is genetic mode will also be useful to determine whether these concerns could be similarly valid for the management of diversity in other vertebrates. Here we genetically confirm parthenogenesis as a mechanism underlying the hammerhead shark birth, providing the first evidence for asexual reproduction in the most ancient jaws vertebrate lineage. Oh my god. Okay. So this study, aside from the content, the content, I mean, is amazing. But like, this is also very well written. Like, just shout out to who wrote this again? Chapman, Lewis, Summer, Fletcher, and Puddle. This is really well written. Like it's like they know they have this amazing thing, and like they're treating it. Sorry. This is probably, I think this is my favorite paper we've read so far. So materials and methods. We'll breeze through this because this is like deep genetics. This is like results in discussion. The microsatellite genotypes the pups and three-candid mothers at the 4 loci. Unambiguously identified CM2 as a mother. CM2, is that the individual who... Oh, okay, so CM1, 2, and 3 are the 3 potential mothers. And the pup. Okay, sorry. No allelic mismatches were observed between CM2 and the pup, whereas CM1 and CM3 were clearly excluded by allelic mismatches at 3 of the 4 loci. Despite the collectively high allelic diversity and heterozygosity of these 4 markers in the source population, the pup was uniformly homozygous for one of its mother's alleles. The composite pup microsatellite genotype strongly supports the absence of paternal genetic contribution. For 2 reasons. First, the pup has no unique paternal alleles at these 4 loci. Second, the probability of the observed homozygous genotype at all 4 loci, assuming biparental reproduction, is vanishingly small, given the population rarity of alleles possessed by the pup at 2 of the loci. Furthermore, although the probability of biparental allelic inheritance is not theoretically eliminated, i.e. extremely small but not 0, none of the wild 119 S. tiburo screened were homozygous at all 4 loci. In addition, any such theoretically possible individuals would have been expected to exhibit homozygous combinations of the most common alleles in this horse population rather than some of the rare ones seen as pup. Okay, sorry, this is really deep. I mean, like, alleles are not deep genetics, but like everything else is really deep, so I won't read all of this out loud, but... Dun, 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 dun. Okay. With this discovery of parthenogenesis in a cartilaginous fish, asexual reproduction has now been demonstrated in all major jawed vertebrate lineages except mammals, where its absence is due to genomic imprinting. The maternal and paternal genomes in a mammalian zygote are imprinted and differently expressed, thus both genomes are required for normal fetal development. This imprinting is believed to have evolved in response to conflicts that develop between the embryonic maternal and parental genomes with regard to maternal resource allocation lineages where there is a direct maternal embryonic connection, such as a placenta. The same intergenomic conflict and selection for imprinting could reasonably be hypothesized to operate in placental sharks with their long evolutionary history in this mode of development. And I thought this shark is placental, actually. Our finding of successful parthenogenesis in the placentally viviparous bonnethead argues that genomic imprinting in the species is absent, or at least does not occur to the extent that development of a gynogenic embryo is prevented. This observation raises questions about whether genomic imprinting is absent in sharks generally, despite relatively common placental it's Monday. Viviparity in its lineage. Given the wide range of reproductive modes, from oviparity to placental viviparity in elasmobranchs, further investigation of the occurrence of parthenogenesis across this lineage could provide valuable insights into the role of reproductive mode in the evolution of genomic imprinting. Okay. Our results suggest that accumulating cases of female sharks producing healthy offspring in the absence of males warrant genetic evaluation to determine how common asexual reproduction, especially automixis, is among these ancient fishes. In some of these cases, females have produced several viable offspring over multiple reproductive cycles. Detroit Aquarium Personal Communication. So this is... wait, Castro et al. Castro's actually a famous shark biologist. Wait a minute. In some of these cases, females have produced several viable offspring, suggesting that parthenogenesis may be facultative in situations where female sharks have difficulty encountering suitable mates. A possibility in the wild due to low population densities caused by overexploitation or emerging captive breeding programs for endangered sharks. That's really interesting. That is a concept I've heard before, where, if I'm understanding it correctly, the sharks know that they're in a single-sex environment, and they don't consciously know, but like biologically and physiologically, they know, like they feel the single sexness. They feel like there's something about them that, like, there's something about them that is like, how do I say it? I can't describe it because it's not like the shark consciously knows what's going on. It's just, but it's just like there's something where they can tell, like biologically, like maybe in terms of like normal, like there's something they can tell physiologically that like it's a single sex environment, and the body undergoes a kind of stress or kind of hormonal response of like you gotta somehow reproduce. Like is kind of what I've gleaned from not really this, but other. I mean, kind of this, but like also kind of like other studies, or like other conversations about this particular study is like it's like a stress response. I'm not saying this correctly, but it's just like there's an understanding, there's like a physiological understanding that this is a single sex environment. There's no chance of having a mate, and so the body goes and undergoes this like emergency response. This is really interesting. A similar recent discovery of automatic parthenogenesis of Komodo dragons raised concerns about the possible negative effects of this form of asexual reproduction on the genetic diversity in small natural or captive populations of this and other endangered reptiles. Our finding for a shark extends the known evolutionary occurrence of automic parthenogenesis to a major basal vertebrate lineage, indicating that these concerns about the conservation of genetic diversity could apply to threatened species over a much broader range of vertebrate taxa. Okay, this is an awesome, like this study is like, this is one of those rare studies that is like, I would say this is like a, I'm trying to think of a good comparison, like, it's like, it's not quite the level of like Newton's law, but it's like, this is a huge study, this is a humongous study, so it's just like, I don't know. it's really important contribution to shark science. So, oh shoot, I'm sorry, I'm catching up on the comments. Audio fuzzy. Is it better now? Like, ooh, Ripley's Aquarium, dude, awesome. Yeah, Bonnethead sharks are amazing. And for them to be kind of like the center of this, like, this is incredible. Like just beyond the shark itself, like the fact that this phenomenon was documented for sharks, or like the article said, documented for such an ancient lineage or a basal lineage. Like it is so critical. Yeah. Like it is super important. Like it's. I really wish I had the right words for it, because it's like this is such an important, like, massive contribution. This is a bad analogy, but it's like the Dark Knight of studies. Like, it's really good. This is a really amazing amazing piece of information, an amazing contribution to the body of knowledge. So, wow, that was super, super cool. So, it is, what time is it? I think it's definitely 11ish, right? It is 11 o'clock here, so I think, thanks, Roy. It's a dark night, and and the Bonnethead's a joker. No, I'm kidding. Like, it's terrible. This was an awesome night. This is actually, this was like super, I think this is the most shark science we've covered, like in terms of like this was a really, really big study night, and I loved every minute. I'm actually still, I mean, I gotta end the stream now because it's 11, but I'm actually pretty jazzed still, so it's like, this was a lot of fun. So any thoughts on like next week's shark, guys? Like, I'm trying to think, like, we've covered squaliforms, we've got a dogfish, we've got squatiniforms, we've got an angel shark, we've got carchariniforms with the bull shark and the bonnethead, and got lamniforms with the poor beagle and the sand tiger. I don't think we've done erectolobiforms, and that might be a good one to do, like, just to kind of expand our diversity. We can do nurse sharks. I mean, we could do any shark, but nurse sharks, wobegons. I would be open to the whale shark, but I kind of feel like we should save that. That's a big, literally big, like, animal. I don't know. Carpet sharks, bamboo sharks. I'm trying to think. Cat sharks. Actually, cat sharks are still carchariniforms, but Port Jackson shark. Yes. Okay. Fantastic. Because like that's heterodontiforms, so it's a brand new lineage. So or brand new order. So yeah, let's go for it. So all right. So next week will be the Port Jackson shark. Super cute shark. If you have any music suggestions, please leave a comment in this video, and we'll put it in the new stream. But thanks so much for watching, and I will be mailing the Carcocles. I'm going to rebrand these as Carcocles, the Carcocles teeth this week. I will reach out to you guys when they are shipped so that you'll be able to track them. And yeah, but I hope you guys have a great week. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting the channel. Please like share with friends and like any other shark enthusiasts who might like this. It's greatly appreciated. But have a great week, and just take care. Bye, guys.